What's up, guys? Keyshawn Uchiha here, back at you with another new Alternate Universe video. And this will be part one of What If Naruto was Dio Brando. Now, he's not going to, this is basically going to be Naruto being Dio Brando. Not like Dio Brando over heaven and stuff, but if y'all do want me to do that, please, do hashtag over like world over heaven, and I will pull some trains. But this will basically be Naruto being Dio Brando, the vampire, the legendary vampire who sucks your blood, stops time. His time stands, and it could have stand more if Jotaro having smacked those cheeks. Pause. But yeah, Naruto be, you could say, Dio Brando. Now, how would this happen? How would Naruto be Dio Brando? How would he be a vampire slash stand user? And how the hell would this basically happen? Now, first, we're going to have to switch up the story and plot. Now, how can I say this? This is where we're going to switch up everything, as pretty much we're going to have to switch up, you could say, everything. Everything's going to have to be, you could say, butterfly effect. You could say. Now, this is where we're going to go all the way to the Nine Tails attack. Now, as the Nine Tails attack happening, this is where the Nine Tails is a little bit much stronger in canon just for plot. And he pretty much starts destroying everybody. Just like messing up the village much worse, you could say. As he's destroying things, just making it worse. Now, this is where a lot of ninjas died. And we're gonna say a couple of ninjas in Hyuga died. So it's gonna be like tiny bit of Hyuga members and tiny bit of a lot of other members too. Except for the Uchiha. The Uchiha is gonna be 5 for a reason. For a reason. But this is where, of course, Hiruzen and Minato had to pretty much work together to pretty much use the Reaper Death Seal and seal the Nine Tails in Chinchuriki. Not in Naruto, but pretty much in a jar. Now, after, Minato does that, this is where Kushina is pretty much holding Naruto and crying because she knows she's gonna die. And Minato pretty much makes a seal and makes a earth seal and puts it in a jar and basically seals it under the ground so no one can find it but Naruto, and he's going to leave a seal mark for Naruto to find because he wants Naruto to be the Nine Tails Jinchuriki. But pretty much this is where Kushina dies, Minato dies, and Hiruzen dies. Now after that, this is where they're pretty much trying to find a proper person to become basically Hokage. Now, first Danzo is stepping in and saying, I'm about to become Hokage, which pretty much the old elder is saying, fuck no. Sorry, but that's how I can imagine it. Which this is where they pretty much are swinging and saying, we want Fugaku Uchiha to become the next Hokage. Which this is where Fugaku says, you want me? Which this is what the elder says, yes. How much that, the past has happened, but we need to let this go. We need a leader, a strong, powerful leader. And you is a strong, powerful leader, Fugaku. So we want you to become the next Hokage. This is where Fugaku gladly accepts and he becomes the Hokage. Now I know what y'all thinking. Fugaku? I thought they would just pick Danzo. Never in a lifetime Danzo will ever become Hokage unless, I'm making a dark alternate universe. But this is kind of a dark alternate universe because this will be an 18SS, but y'all find out. Pretty much this is where Danzo clenches his fist and pissed off saying, no, all my plans are about to get ruined. Because, it basically is ruined. And this is where we're going to say, pretty much, Fugaku becomes the new Hokage. Now, this is where Fugaku is in the office and stuff, and this is where they're basically saying, what should we do with Naruto? Which, this is where Hiruzen is thinking, well, not thinking, and Naruto is just going to be put in the orphanage. Because Fugaku, no one doesn't know that, that's Naruto is the baby of Minato and Kushina because pretty much Hiruzen died, and Hiruzen was the one that brought him out there. But yeah, No one doesn't know the baby, but they know he was just there, and they pretty much just put him in adoption home. Now this is where Naruto growing up, and we're just gonna have a 5-year-old Naruto, and this is where Danzo is basically trying to get to Naruto and basically try to kill Naruto because Naruto is the only one to open up the seal in which Danzo knows where the place is at to get the Nine Tails Jinchuriki to basically have power. So he wants to grab Naruto and basically just kill him and basically just turn his body into a puppet because we're gonna say he has an Anbu member who can turn body parts into puppets and try to kill Naruto. This is where Naruto is running away, screaming and crying, which one of the Anbu members pretty much chase after him. And we're gonna say it's pretty much a Hyuga member that knows where Naruto at. It begins to hit Naruto's chakra points, pretty much cutting him off from him. Now, this is where Naruto is pretty much coughing up blood and saying, "What do you want from me?" Which pretty much Danzo is appearing out the shell saying, "I want your body, Naruto, so I can basically get what I can get." Which Naruto pretty much is off on a cliff, pretty much you could say a little bit with blood, and he pretty much jumps off. Which this is where Danzo says, "No! Find that body and bring it to me," which this is where they can't find the body. This is where Naruto is getting out the warrior. He's leaving the Leaf Village. Pretty much saying, "Wait, I will get my revenge and kill you." Which he pretty much, like walks himself away injured. Now, we're gonna do a time skip. Now, nothing's gonna be reporting yet. Not Team 7. None of that's gonna be reporting yet. Nothing's gonna happen like that yet. Okay, so calm down. But this is where we're gonna have a 17-year-old Naruto. Now this Naruto is basically, not at the Leaf Village, but basically, fighting around food and stuff and basically trying to make a living. And all that stuff. Now, this is where we're gonna say Naruto is practicing with his chakra training. And his chakra is really good because since, he doesn't have Kurama to fuck up his chakra or anything, so he's pretty much fine. We're gonna switch to Fugaku right now, and this is where Fugaku is in his office right now, pretty much, looking at the papers and stuff, and pretty much thinking like, Now, I'm gonna put a hold on Academy. We're gonna say the Academy, you have to be 17 to go into the Academy, because we're gonna say that's when you is in the College University Academy and you be on a team and all that stuff. So we're just gonna do it like that. So the Academy we're gonna be like College University, and we're gonna say middle school is like the middle class academy as you start your training and stuff. You won't be on Team 7 or anything, on teams or anything. You just learn chakra based and training all that. But the Academy, that's when you're gonna be on Team 7 and stuff and do all your exams and all that shit and know your history. So yeah, kind of had to do that so Naruto can come back and do the academy and all that stuff and show his superiority to that and that shit. But yeah, this is where Fugaku is pretty much looking at the papers, and he begins to look, and he looks and sees that Krishina was pregnant, and when she was giving out pregnancy, he pretty much sees the file and says, "Wait, that baby, that was Minato's son," which he remembers that he thinks, "Oh no, that was Minato's son." And we're gonna say Fugaku and Minato was really good friends. Like, we're gonna say they was tight best friends. And he really, respected Minato and stuff. And Minato respected him. And they was really good at the battlefield with each other. We're gonna say sometimes they did Amu missions together, and he was the red bloody Sharingan user, or he was the demon Sharingan user, which they called Fugaku in the battlefield. And they called Minato the Yellow Flash Demon, or the Burning Flash Star, or the Burning Star Flash, you could say. Now, after Fugaku sees all this stuff and realizes that, he begins to try to look everywhere for Naruto and trying to tell the Uchiha that is loyal to him to look around and try and find Naruto. This is where the Uchihas basically found secret information that Naruto left the village long ago, and he's pretty much on the run from Danzo, which this is where Fugaku says, "Danzo," and he pretty much says, "First we need to go get Naruto and bring him back here, and then we will handle Fugaku," which this is where Itachi and Shisui says, "Yes, Fugaku," and they pretty much head off. Now this is where we have Naruto. We're switching back to Naruto now. This is where Naruto is basically looking around yeah, looking around and stuff, and yeah, looking around and stuff, and pretty much finds a secret place, and stuff. Now, this is where he finds a secret cave system, and he looks and he sees like a tree, pretty much a tree with masks and stuff. Now, this is where he touched one mask, and the mask breaks off, and he says, "What is this?" And he begins to, play around with it, with his childish self, and plays around with it, and mess with the stuff. This is where he also sees a arrow, and he's pretty much saying, there's an arrow here. Which this is where Danzo found the location of Naruto. It pretty much sees a Hyuga member, and which this is where a Hyuga member is at. Now this is where Danzo appears and says, "Naruto, Uzumaki," or should I say Naruto, "I'm here to take your body and pretty much get that power that your father had long ago." Which this is where Naruto pretty much says, "Now it's my time." It pretty much puts the mask down on the ground. Not on the face, but pretty much, yeah, on the face, because for a reason. Naruto pretty much charged at Danzo, and Danzo is pretty much whooping Naruto ass. Pretty much just, upper whooping Naruto ass, because we're gonna say Danzo has that upper class. Now, this is where we're gonna say Danzo begins to unstrip his shirt and stuff, and we're gonna say Danzo has that, I'm gonna prove my strength by, showing these eyes and shit. And basically showing, he shows his arm, and we're gonna say his arm has like a couple of Sharingan eyes. Because we're gonna say Danzo was talking with Orochimaru. Orochimaru had a couple of Uchiha bodies. Just reply. And he begins to show, it says, you think you can fight me, Naruto? Which he pretty much, turns his hands into wind chakra, wind blades, and he begins to fight Naruto again. Naruto's pretty much getting cut up and stuff, and his body is pretty much getting hit by failure organs and stuff, and Naruto's get back up. Now this is where Naruto gets back up and says, "I'm going to kill you," and he pretty much trying to run at Danzo, which Danzo pretty much cuts Naruto's head. Now, before Naruto's head falls off, this is where Naruto's standing still, and Danzo pretty much smiling, saying, We're gonna say for plot, Danzo get careless, and Naruto pretty much cuts off Danzo's head. Pretty much hits Danzo from the dope. Pretty much killing Danzo right there. Now this is where Naruto walks straight to the mask, and pretty much his head falls on the mask while blood falls on it. Now as his head falls on the mask, it pretty much latch onto Naruto's head. Now I know what y'all thinking. Oh, wait a minute, but ain't Naruto would be dead because his head's chopped off? Listen, I'm going to explain how he survived. Now, I believe in when a guy got his head decapitated, you have like at least like 5 seconds, 10 minutes or something before you lose oxygen and go brain dead, if I'm correct. So at that 10 minutes, that's when the mask, just at the right time, latches onto Naruto and begins to turn him into a vampire. This is where the mask breaks off, and Naruto's eyes is still closed, but this is where his tentacles or the tentacle things pretty much rips off Danzo's head and pretty much goes in Danzo's body. Now this is where, as Naruto latch onto Danzo's body, this is where pretty much all the Uchiha eyes on that arm that Danzo had begins to start closing, and they begin to start disappearing. Now as they're disappearing, they begins to start all forming together, mixing together, you could say, and they begins to all go into Naruto's eyes. Now this is where Naruto opened back up his eyes, and he begins to say real. Now as he does a real noise, which I've been practicing for this, he pretty much does the real noise and pretty much looks around, and his eyes is, you could say, turning into the three Tomoe Sharingan eyes. Now but these eyes are golden, you could say. Just work with me here. It's pretty much golden, and his hair begins to grow even longer, you could say, and it's turning into Dio's hair. So his hair is turning longer into Dio's hair. This is where he's looking around, thirsty, hungry for blood and stuff, and he finds his old body. This is where he bites down his body. Well, put his hand down in his old body. It starts draining the life force out of his body. And it pretty much, takes the chakra and stuff too from his body. And he begins to also falls down on the ground and closes his eyes and says, I did it. I finally killed him. I can go back now. Now, this is where, of course, Shisui Itachi comes in and pretty much looks at Naruto and says, Naruto, Naruto Uzumaki, come with us. Which Naruto jumps back in. He's pretty much having his claws out saying, you here to kill me too? You're one of his underlings, Danzo underlings, which pretty much they look at Naruto and they pretty much sees a body beside him and they see the head is off and also Danzo's head is pretty much on the ground, which they pretty much say what happened here, which Naruto pretty much says I pretty much killed him, which Itachi and Shisui gets in a fighting stance to pretty much, stop to try to fight Naruto, which Naruto is pretty much say, come at me, which pretty much we're gonna say this is where the arrow, that one arrow thought of Naruto being worthy and shoots right in the back, pretty much piercing his heart. Not killing him, but piercing his heart, which this is where Naruto pretty much hits the ground and passes out. Now, of course, this is where Shisui and Itachi runs to Naruto to see if he's alright, and they pretty much can't feel a pulse, but Naruto is just pretty much knocked out, and they pretty much brings him back to Fugaku. Now, we're gonna say later after that. Actually, no. We're gonna say Itachi and Shisui touches Naruto's body, and Naruto's body is pretty much cold, and they say he's dead, which pretty much they feel sad and pretty much leaves, and telling that Danzo's dead and also Naruto's dead too. Now this is where Naruto wakes back up, pretty much is filling his head and pretty much saying what happened, which this is where he begins to walk out. We're gonna say this is where a couple bandits come at Naruto and pretty much try to attack him. Now, this is where the world comes in and pretty much punches one of the bandits and send them flying into a tree, which pretty much shattering their ribs, which he coughs up blood saying, "Kuh." This is where the other guy says, what did you do? And pretty much start charging at Naruto. This is where Naruto begins to, you could say slightly understand the Fumigate. You could say dodges the guy attacks. It pretty much grabs his arm and freezes it, which the guy says, "Huh? What did you do?" Which Naruto says, "Useless," and breaks his arm. Pretty much shatters his arm. This is where the guy falls down on the ground saying, "Ah, my arm, my arm." This is where, of course, Naruto walks closely to the guy, and we're gonna say he just feels it, and he automatically teleports right in front of the guy and says, "Your blood is mine," and pretty much drains the life out of him and kills him. He goes to the other guy and drains the other guy too. Now, this is where Fugaku pretty much goes to himself to see if Naruto's dead, and he pretty much looks in the cave and Naruto is not there. But Danzo's body's there. Head is there, but not his body. This is where Fugaku says, "Go find Naruto now." Which, this is where Itachi says, "Yes, yes, Lord. I guess Lord 5th or Lord 6th, if you want to say. This Lord 6, and they begin to start seeing where his Naruto's at. Now, Naruto has a unique capability now of, now since he doesn't have a living body, he can still use chakra, so he can still use chakra stuff, like such as water walk and stuff, and also like nature's like we're gonna say he has lightning style nature and also fire style nature since he's a Uchiha since they have that. And we're gonna say he has wind nature since he took over Danzo's body. So yeah, and also water style. But he doesn't have Earth. So he has all those releases since he took over Danzo's body. This is where Naruto is pretty much going, pretty much running and stuff. And no one can't. Shisui Itachi can't find him because Naruto has that capability of not having his chakra sense. So if they have a Hyuga, since Naruto is a vampire, they can't sense his chakra because vampires don't have chakra. Well, Naruto has chakra. He built different, but they can't see his chakra anymore. This is where we're gonna say Naruto is pretty much heading to the Sand Village. just for the plot. And pretty much he's going there looking around and stuff, and he pretty much begins to, start look around and stuff. And this is where Gaara bumps into Naruto, which Naruto looks at Gaara and says, "Oh, I'm sorry," which Gaara looks at him with a death stare. This is where Naruto looks at him with a little bit of shock, but not afraid. Because Naruto, he's a favorite now. What the fuck? What he should be afraid of? Well, Gaara is a little bit crazy, but let's continue. This is where uh, I'm gonna kind of make a female Gaara. I'm gonna make Gaara female, just for female Gaara for this. Yeah, female Gaara in this. Pretty much, this is where Gaara looks at Naruto with a death stare look, which Naruto looks at her and says, "Are you okay? Are you trying to, tell me something?" Which she pretty much looks at him and says, "You're not afraid of me?" Which Naruto says, "No, I'm not afraid of you. Am I supposed to be?" Which pretty much she says, "I want to talk to you." Which this is where Naruto and her meets up on top of the rooftop. Now, this is where she basically explained that she's the one tells in Cherokee, and she pretty much, can't get any sleep or anything. And Naruto begins to say that he feels sorry for her and that he will be her first friend, which this is where they create somewhat a bond. Now, we're going to say a week. Yeah, a week passed. And, nah, we're going to say the next day. Naruto is staying there, still at the same village, the hidden same village. And pretty much, trading with Gaara and stuff, help. She's helping him out. He's helping her out with also, fixing the, well, also helping her out with the seal, because we're gonna say Naruto looks around and searched up how to, fix the seal, and pretty much he fixes her seal, which pretty much now Fugaku can't really keep her up all night or make her insane. So yeah, pretty much it's fine. So now she's basically, okay now and steadying herself, but she still is crazy and has the blood loss. So don't worry about that. But pretty much this is where they're training now, and he's quickly using his stand abilities and stuff. And we're gonna say this is where one time Gaara accidentally she shoots a lot of bullets at Naruto, which Naruto can't dodges and realize that they're sharp. Which she pretty much says, "Oh no," it's trying to immediately to stop him until Naruto stops time, which he thinks is dead, and he says, "What am I supposed to do? I can't dodge this." Which this is where he hears Zawado, which this is where he says Zawado, and everything goes dun 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 dun. This is where Naruto looks around and he sees that everything is slow. This is where he touched the sand and he pretty much moved beside it, and pretty much the sand goes back moving forward, which he pretty much says that was 10 seconds. Huh. So I can stop time for 10 seconds. This is where, of course, she runs up to him, pretty much, hugging him and saying that she thought she killed him. Which Naruto hugs her back and says, "It's okay, it's fine." Basically, giving her a smile with the two sharp teeth. Now, this is where we're gonna say the 18 SS part is coming in. So I'm gonna go in extremely detail in this. So if you don't like to hear, female guard getting, banged by Naruto, please get the hell out the kitchen because shit is about to get juicy in here. But let's continue. Pretty much this is where Naruto is uh doing guard. Pretty much he's biting on her neck, getting a little bit blood off her. Not draining her, but biting on her neck too. Which she likes to kink and stuff. And he's going down and stuff, sucking on her breasts and stuff, begins to undress, and they begins to get naked and stuff. This is where Naruto's sticking in, and he's going in and out and stuff. And pretty much this is where, he done nut the sauce in there. Now I know what you're thinking. Is Naruto gonna get Gaara pregnant? Well, Dio Brando got some girls pregnant, so why not? But let's continue. I'm sorry if I said that like that, but why not? Let's continue. Pretty much, this is where they're laying in the bed together, and she's pretty much, laying on his chest and saying that she doesn't want him to die. Which Naruto smiles and says, "I'm not gonna die, believe it." Which you could say she smiles back and lays on him. Now, we're gonna say the hidden sand village. They love Gar now. Like they don't hate her because since she got her seal fixed, and she's not crazy and showing fear. She's, being as she's doing, just like her father. Being a good Nazakame. Helping out the village more. Fixing on upgrades. So the people wants her to be much more early as a Nagakatsume, which she got, voted in, which Naruto was happy and claps for her. Now, this is where Naruto remembers that place that has stand arrows, but well, doesn't have stand arrows, but knows that it's the place where it has mask, and he wants to make her like him because we're gonna say they pretty much growed a little bit, and Naruto is 18 now. Yeah, 18 now, but he didn't, change or age, which he noticed that. But he noticed that he's incredibly strong now every time he gets blood. He doesn't kill, well, he does kill people, but we're gonna say he goes on like missions and pretty much kills people or go out the village secretly and kills people. And we're gonna say like evil ninjas and stuff. He kills them and stuff and drains their blood. This is where Naruto is heading back into the same village. And pretty much this is where Fugaku found out a lead. Where's Naruto at? And pretty much sends Itachi and Shisui there. This is where Naruto is pretty much in the village and stuff. Pretty much with Gaara and stuff. And this is where pretty much Fugaku appears in the village. Pretty much, saying they're not here to fight or anything, and they're here to get Naruto. Which Gaara, she's pretty much saying, what are they talking about, Naruto? What do they mean they're here to get you? Which Naruto pretty much doesn't know, and he pretty much get his knives ready. Will pretty much walk very slowly. And Naruto will have the whole look as Dio outfit right there. Will have the whole Dio outfit. Except for the shoes. He would just have like the ninja sandal shoes, but it would look like that. But have ninja sandal. He would basically have the ninja sandal shoes. Now this is where he's walking closely. And he's pretty much have the black nails in. He pretty much teleports in front of Fugaku and says, "What do you want?" Which this is where Fugaku is shocked and doesn't even know that, Naruto just teleport right in front of him. And Sushi is saying, "Is that my teleport building? But how?" Which Naruto shows like the three Tomoe Sharingan saying, "What do you want with me?" And make it quick. Which this is where, the Sand Ninjas are getting ready in precision, and Gaara, she's also ready to protect her man no matter the cost. Which this is where Fugaku says, "I'm here to take you back to the village, Naruto. I'm here to bring you home. I'm sorry that I didn't protect you against Danzo. I'm sorry that you've been going through a lot. I'm sorry that I didn't tell you about your parents and stuff. I didn't know that you was actually born, which I thought you died with Kushina and Minato, which this is where Naruto says, "You know about my parents?" Which he begins to explain, in which Naruto tells Gaara that he'll be back at the same village, but right now he's going to go back at the Leaf and see what they got, which she pretty much says okay. This is where Naruto's heading back with the Leaf, with Fugaku and stuff, and Fugaku knows that Naruto has a Sharingan, which he thinks, how does he have a Sharingan? Which this is where Fugaku, as they're, going to the Leaf, this is where Fugaku asks Naruto the $1,000,000 question. Naruto, how do you have Sharingan eyes, but golden Sharingan eyes, unique like that? Which this is where Naruto says, before, when I was fighting with Danzo, there was that cave, and when I fought him, he sliced my head clean, clean off. But before my head fall off, I stabbed him in the throat and killed him. Which I pretty much had my head fall down on the mask, which blood starts to go around the mask and latch onto me. After that, my body pretty much just took over his body, and now I have his body completely, which Naruto shows, and it's pretty much, not his body, which he's moving around it, which Fugaku is amazed and saying, but how did you get the Sharingans? Which this is where Naruto explains that Danzo had 1,000,000 Sharingan hands in his right arm, and he pretty much had the power. Well, pretty much was like constantly just, you could say, fucking him, and he had the opportunity to hurry kill him, and all the Sharingan disappears. And I guess they form together, which Fugaku is impressed and saying, you could say amazed and saying, This is where Fugaku says, Naruto, would you like to be named Naruto Uchiha? Which, this is where Naruto looks at Fugaku and says, nah, I think I like to name myself Naruto Brando, which Fugaku says, alright, it's your choice. But Fugaku says, you will always be Uchiha in my eyes, which Itachi essentially raise up an eyebrow and wonder why he wants Naruto to be a Uchiha. Which they continue going. Now, this is where they be in the Leaf Village. Pretty much they're at the Leaf Village and stuff. Yeah, this is where Naruto, Fugaku, and also Itachi and Shisui is back at the Leaf. Which, this is where Sasuke runs up to his brother saying, Itachi, you're back. Which, this is where they look and see. This is where Sasuke look and sees, you could say, the same age as him. Or you could say a person right in the middle of him. Which Fugaku says, oh, Sasuke, I'd like you to meet Naruto Uchiha, which Naruto says Naruto Brando, which this is where Fugaku says, right, sorry. Which he says, this is Naruto Brando. And he's going to be in the village, staying at the Leaf Village. Which Naruto says, I didn't say I'm going to stay at the Leaf Village. Which this is where Fugaku says, oh, please, Naruto. This was your home. Your father was a Hokage, which you should become the next Hokage after I retire. Which Naruto looks at him and says, you want me to become the next Hokage? Which he says, yes, for everybody, including for the Uchihas. Which, this is where Naruto pretty much says, fine, if you say so. And he pretty much, says, now where's my house that you said you have for me? Which pretty much Fugaku shows. And it's pretty much like, you could say like Dio's mention, but it's Naruto's house. Because we're going to say it was Minato's house. Minato had a big ass house. And Naruto says, this was my father's house. I see. I think I like it. And he pretty much starts to walk. This is where Naruto stops him. And he pretty much grabs Naruto's hand and say, wait, you haven't really explained yourself. Who are you? And why did my father call you Uchiha? Which this is where Naruto backhand him in the face. Pretty much bitch slapped him, sending him flying to the ground and said, don't you ever touch me like that again. And pretty much walks away. Which Sasuke's about to get up, pretty much activating his 2 Tomoe Sharingan. We're gonna say since he has a 2 Tomoe Sharingan. And charges at Naruto from behind, which Naruto pretty much sees that and teleports right behind him and pretty much grabs him and slams him down again, pretty much knocking him out, saying, Fugaku, you better get your son. Which, this is where Naruto looks at him and says, before I kill him, and pretty much starts walking away. Now, after he walks away, he pretty much heads inside, and he's looking around and stuff, and this is where he looks at the back outside, and he sees a training field. He says, that would be great as training. But this is where he senses a powerful seal, you could say. And he sees it. This is where he touches it. And he says, what is this? And we're going to say since Naruto head has his blood, just reply, but Danzo doesn't. He can still do it. But this is where he activates it, and he pretty much sees a jar. Now, as he touches this jar, this is where the full 9 tails go all the way inside Naruto, which Naruto is pretty much saying, what the hell? And he pretty much falls down to the ground. Now, of course, this is where Naruto is in his mindscape now, and this is where Kurama looks and says, so you must be my new host. Which, this is where Naruto says, who are you? Well, who are you? Which, he's pretty much having his hand by the side and pretty much holding his other hand by the waist, which this is where Kurama explains himself and says he's the 9-tailed Jinchuriki, and he's the one that attacked the Leaf Village, and he's the one that Danzo was trying to get and kill, which Naruto begins to clench his fist and says, well, he's dead now. But, was you the one who killed my family? Which he pretty much says, it wasn't my fault. I was under a genjutsu by a Uchiha, which this is where he clenches his fist and says, was it Fugaku? Which this is where this is where the Nine-Tail says, no, it was Madara Uchiha, which Naruto clenches his fist even more, pretty much making out a little bit of blood and saying, who the hell is Madara Uchiha? Which he pretty much says Madara Uchiha was this, powerful ninja and stuff and all that, which Naruto says, okay. And he begins to sit down and says, but let me see. Let me get to know you better, and why are you the 9-tailed Jinchuriki, and what is a tail beast, which Kurama gladly explains this stuff, and Naruto and Kurama makes a good bond. This is where Naruto is pretty much still on the ground, and we're gonna say Sasuke is pretty much trying to shake him and wake him up, which this is where Naruto leaves his mindscape and wakes back up, and he looks at Naruto. Looks at Naruto and says, "Oh, you're finally awake." Which this is where Naruto says, "What are you doing at my house, my mansion?" Which this is where, yeah, Sasuke says that my father wants to see you. Which Naruto gets up and says, "Fine, whatever." And this is where Sasuke is pretty much, walking with Naruto. Now, this is where Fugaku says that Naruto will be, in the academy. Which Naruto says, "What, academy? I'm already strong enough. I don't need to join an academy." Which this is where he says, "Well, everybody else did it, and you have to do it too, to be on the team and stuff, and, to be a Johnny here." Which this is where Fugaku says, "And you can leave and go back to the sand and come back here." Which Naruto says, "Alright, fine." Now, this is part 1 of What If Naruto Was Dio Brando. If you like, leave a like, comment, and do all that stuff. But I'm Keisha Chia. Thanks for watching, and peace out!
It looks like you lost another one.